So this one's a shout out to NASA. Um, this will be in the Library libraries. So all these things going in the Library library in 4K, just for a mention. Okay, remember this. This is the reason we went to this. Okay, we're going into 4K graphically because the resolution is high enough to where if you wanted to build a rocket, okay, you have to think of this. The precision you can design something in 4K and let's say have it 3D printed in reality is very simple. But what would make simple good? Normally, simple only sells once, right? Well, let's say we built 50 to 25 rockets, okay, with cameras on them, okay, in 4K. Just the precision of them so accurate, but the construction of them so cheap, okay? You fling 25, 30, 40 fucking rockets out at the moon, okay, with no bearing on if they're coming back. You don't give a shit. Okay, you're assembling these things fucking cheap and you're throwing fucking cameras on the motherfucking moon, right? Until eventually one tips over just by random luck, okay? Or falls off, a little tip falls off and twists ahead. And you get to see from the moon back at the Earth in 4K. And the whole mission, 24 hours a day, you can just hop on Library and see the moon view of Earth. Just as if you're standing there. Okay? So in 4K engineering, the engineering is so precise at that resolution. But the difference is then you're making these rockets, they're not really going to come back. You know what I mean? You float them up in a weather balloon as high as you can in the atmosphere and you just launch them off. You don't really have to have the accuracy of it, but you will have the accuracy of it in highly accurate things. The other part is you will also have the most inaccurate. Okay? You can produce things so accurately and so inaccurately in both directions. So the reason is you'll know the finest details of every mistake and you'll know the finest details of every victory. But projects like that seemed like, oh, that's just whatever. We haven't done that since 1964, right? Because it took a globe to build one shot. Okay. And then now you're like, we could actually do that. You know what I mean? You got Pyrex materials that can withstand a glass camera yay big, 4,000 degrees or 240 degrees above Celsius and below Celsius is what the moon is. You can build a little camera housing that can convex that. In 4K, the resolution of materials, the atomic prepared trajectories of calculations and what materials would withstand it, how you would build it in Library, you can actually take those things later on and 3D print them. You could build it out of wood or titanium if you want. I mean, if you can 3D print titanium housings with a jet cutter, I mean, that's fucking crazy, man. So a titanium rocket weighs nothing. Super fucking strong, weighs nothing. And you just shoot them off at the fucking moon until you finally hit one that turns around and looks back. So Library, released from Microsoft, is going to be pushing these prefab libraries all day long of the 3D print catalog of tomorrow. The government will look at them, and in the video game department, it's fine. In the 3D printing, trust me, government will have heavier regulations. But when you build these prefabs in vector graphics, they can scale them any size and then 3D print them. So industry becomes you know, like highly accurate to any object. And then you could just shit them out by the millions, you know what I mean? Just like in your home. You know what I mean? So we don't want that many passive jobs. Okay. So if you're 3D printing, you want to make sure that you're a piece of something. Okay. You're just a piece of something. The main large corporations like NASA and stuff like that would be the main assembly of those pieces. So if they're like, we need a titanium spoon this large, okay, they load up the prefab to Library and or Library Y, and uh, then you see this thing, and you go, okay, maybe that's a 3D print, but the parts and pieces assembly of the Earth, it's mainly made for video games, but you can just take that to a 3D printer. So gigantic 3D printers. But 3D print, we don't want automating everybody's jobs. Okay, just heads up. The only thing you want to automate in the regular people. Think of this in the regular people. Okay, you might automate printing spoons, 3D printing spoons, but you still want to take them to the packaging guy, and that packaging guy packages them, and then that guy prints a 3D package, and then the 3D package takes that to the store. Okay, you want to make sure whatever you 3D print drags you out of your home. Okay, just thinking of that for the 4K future. Okay, because we don't want just sitting there and you got 9 million spoons and they go nowhere. Okay, like make sure whatever product you're making drags you out of the house and you meet people and you talk to people. Products are people, ideas are people. Library is not trying to automate a planet and wreck your world. It's designed to take your idea and sharpen it, okay, and then test it on the market. Okay, just test it on the market. Test a little nut, test a little bolt, test a little, flashlights and things like that. Everything, these are all little pieces. Each little LED, that's a person. You go get some from somewhere, and then you put it all together. Okay? So think like that, rather than just, I'm going to assemble the whole shit myself, like me. That's fucking insane. But I do all my own. Oh, I do so much shit. But so things to think about, I thought of this mission, I don't even know how many fucking decades ago. I was like, you go to the moon, you do some shit, whatever. But then it's like, I want to see from the moon back to Earth in 4K, minimum, like minimum. So assemble camera housings and make them cheap enough to where you can just. So how's the only way you do that? From the desk. Talk to you soon. Thank you, products.